Can you hear me?
We heard you, we were just muted. Do you hear us now?
I do, thank you.
Six, Kathy, but should we wait to see if Casey shows up or? And Mike said he might be a few minutes late.
Well, we have a quorum, don't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a work session, right? Doesn't matter, but. Let's do it.
You haven't heard from Casey at all.
Just this morning, that he would be Zoom. So I expect it.
Well, why don't I go ahead and call the work session to order, November 13th, 2025, and a roll call, please.
Yes. Mayor Smith,
Here,
Deborah Adams. Here. Aaron Hansen. Here. Casey Kinsman is absent for now, Mike Mickelson absent for now. Wendy Brainy. Here. Kathy Sherman,
Here.
Dave Zastro.
Here.
That is a form of consent.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully Casey and Mike can join in. Sam, do you want to go over your memo with us?
Yeah, I'm sorry, this is. So as we talked about a little bit in the last meeting, sales tax did not come in as projected for 25 or our projection for 26. So we reduced that revenue line down to 4.1 million. Which gave us another $40,000 deficit. We tried to follow the same format, we have the same table, we've gone from round one, this is round four. Great, luckily, we've had some good, I don't know about it, I don't want to say that. We had some talks that really helped, the hospital did give up $100,000 of their contribution. Dr. Sanders felt comfortable with that. If a crisis occurs, it will be large, and then $100,000 will make a difference at that point. Anything else they feel like she feels like she can maintain. We also had some interns and personnel adjustments. Some of those were interns that wasn't maybe family. Being charged as family and wasn't, and some other personnel adjustments that came to 169, which was substantial. And it was good work done by Cheryl and Kaylee on just fine tuning that budget down to dates and months. We are not funding the part-time lifeguard position. So this leaves the pool with one full-time position and some temporaries. Less temporaries than they've had in many years, so their hours will be reduced, services will be reduced. We cut all the library temps to 0, and we laid off a part-time library position. Their hours will also be reduced. Those department heads are working through how they're gonna function and what that'll look like. We also removed all travel from non-essential, so police and fire still have travel. Everyone else is at zero. I will say that AML has been giving out some scholarships for travel for some of their meetings. Sheldon got a scholarship for the tax meeting. I got a scholarship to go to the city manager, portion of AML. So travel may occur. I think, Samantha has also been able to get some scholarships for some of her travels, so that's how we'll be trying to work that, and if we can't, we won't be traveling. That gives us a balanced budget with everything that we've agreed on in the past. We've been looking at cuts. So. I'm giving you guys a balanced budget.
Yeah. As is required of you, so. Well, let's go, shall we just go around the table, council, do you have specific comments from reviewing this version of our budget? Would you like to do it that way? Or go, I don't see any need to go through item by item. Specific questions for staff, there are any, I guess. Okay, Deb, thanks.
First of all, I can't imagine how much manpower, power, work that went into this, so thank you. And, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself here, but do we have a ballpark of what it means to reduce hours to the pool and library?
I mean, you can. Do you wanna talk to that? I mean, Samantha can, she's generally trying to figure it out. Ashley is here as well.
Yeah, I think, you know, we've had a plan B, I have a plan C. I know that we were probably gonna be the first ones to get cut, so it's no surprise with that. It's gonna be limited. We do track usage, what times people are coming in, and balancing that with how much staff we have, which is not a lot. So making sure that, our one full-time lifeguard is supported. But it's looking like possibly in the summer, we're gonna be down quite a bit. It's our lowest count, and then a lot of recreation swim is gonna be taken away. So. Our full-time lifeguard can work 40 hours. In a regular schedule. So, and then balancing what that looks like, having a policy where we have to have two. People at the pool. Too, so.
While we have you up here,
Yeah.
what's the timeline for the pool?
So we're still waiting, on Renosis to come in, so when I get a phone call from them. Hopefully they come in pretty quickly, they're still shooting for the middle of December. And we are on a wait list, I think that really. They could come in at any time, and we'll be ready for them.
Really nice to know we have a path forward.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Other questions for Samantha online? Alright, seeing none, thank you.
Ashley is also here.
Yeah, Ashley, you want to come up and talk about library?
Hey guys, so I talked with our head librarian yesterday, kind of going over what hours are totally similar to how Samantha's working at the pool. And looking at reducing hours for the opening, rather than the evening, that would also help balance, the needs of Signy with Cordova Center and keeping open for the meetings in the afternoon. So that's pretty much our plan for that. Any other questions?
So does that mean, what time is the library open now?
Currently 10.
10, so noon?
11 or noon, probably 11, so which would reduce the hours by 4 hours a week.
Thanks, Ashley.
And I think, just because they're talking about hours and 4 hours, there's also a lot of work that's not getting done, because
Yeah.
now there's 2 people doing the work of. Well, it's there's one person, because you can't have them both on at the same time.
Nobody's
Have
shelving
4 hours.
books, yes.
Yeah. So it's not just how many hours there. And same with the pool, you know.
Kristen, wanna go ahead?
Thanks. Yeah, I heard from a community member a suggestion, or I received a suggestion, maybe I should say, and I'm gonna say this out loud and see what Ashley and Sam think about it. But the question was, what about reducing the museum hours to match the library? And given what I just heard Ashley say about the challenge with reducing the library hours and what that means for staff's ability to do the work, I mean, I know there's, yeah, is there any benefit to reducing the museum hours and having that person help out at all at the library in this pinch? That's just a thought. Maybe that's harder than it sounds to manage. Maybe that's more work to manage, but I just wanted to relay that.
Yeah, so, there's been some discussion on that and what that looks like, but it wouldn't transfer over to the, library, because that would put us, managing more in the collections and archives along with museum store inventory. And just giving us a hand on that. I do think there's some importance in having the museum and library open at the same time for consistency.
Also, the library staff plays a pretty key role in helping with the Cordova Center coordinator. And even us, if we're out of here at 6:30, some miracle meeting, they'll lock the door, you know, they are locking the doors when we miss.
Mhm.
Or if CTC is here and, you know, Cindy's already put in 12 hours, then the library staff who leave at 7,
Correct.
close the building.
Yeah, we typically have one librarian that stays until about 7:30, and so that's kind of our indication on, most of the meetings are somewhere between 5 and 7:15 or so when they get done. Not always true, but this helps relieve some of the duties of the, us and me as the coordinator of Cordova Center.
I'm just gonna add to, I know we've had to do this before in the past and we did cross train, but there is a lot of training involved for operating the library system. There's a lot of training and behind the scenes in the museum, so gotta have the bodies and you gotta plan ahead to do that, and it's really hard, so it takes time. Are there any other questions? Mike, I see you're online. We're just, staff is present in the audience and we've just been going through, we weren't gonna go through item by item. We're just asking for questions or concerns on the general fund budget as it's been proposed to us by the manager and staff.
I think we lost my last
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he was there.
He was for a minute.
Okay. Does anybody in the room have any more questions? I suppose we could come back if Casey and Mike come on and they have questions that we've missed.
Good idea.
Okay, last call at the table. Good to go for now. Okay. Sam, do you wanna start us on the fees and rates schedule, fee schedule?
Sure, we presented the fee increases for water sewer. At the last meeting, everything is highlighted that it's changed. We did put in an amendment.
Yeah.
The refuse, fee schedule got lost in the shuffle. Wrong email. And so that is an update that was put at your tables. There's some over here on that table. And then Samantha has some pretty, a great PowerPoint that she wants to give on her fee schedule, because she's really restructuring and trying to do the most she can for the pool and darky. So we could, if anybody has any questions on any of these others, I would be more than happy to ask them. or sorry,
Hanson.
Hanson.
For the benefit of those listening online, so for the refuse department, 2026 fees and rates, the changes are for vehicle disposal at 17 miles city landfill. Vehicles and light duty trucks has gone from 66.57 to $80. Just a little deal. And then dumpster tipping has increased. Based on sizes, Sundays, holidays, regular rates. Any questions in the room or online?
I can, yeah,
Yes.
just in general, the increases are just reflective of just increases in general cost of operating, like the dumpster being and a lot.
You will just. The Kevin is here, you can adjust. Everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, the increases are to cover overall cost increases to the refuse department. I mean, that is one of the ways that we make money is through the tipping of it. So it's really one of the few mechanisms that we have to collect revenue. You know, it's either through residential charges or through commercial charges. And then those fund all the operations of the refuse department. So it's not necessarily just the truck going to pick that up. I mean, it includes the permitting, the items that I talked about at the last meeting, the new requirements that they're gonna have from us, so we're gonna have to, you know, we have additional costs that are coming. And so, yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
covers general operation increases.
One of the people, so we can
Yeah.
find answers.
What do you go, a percentage?
Yeah, right, yeah, how do you come up with the numbers, I guess?
Yeah, so for the tipping, yes, I should have broke it down. I thought I had.
Sorry, I thought it was like
No, I just don't have the correct.
2%? Who's got a calculator?
Finance project.
Oh, I have in my Excel sheet with me.
Cheryl, you're the math person. JK. 5%. I did one on that,
Yeah, thank you.
5%.
I knew it was 5 or 7, I just needed to do a quick calc to do it first, but yeah, it was 5% increases for the dumpster tipping rates.
Thanks, Bill.
Are there any, other questions on the other fee schedule that we've seen? If not, we'll move on to Parks and Rec. It's just looking, the library still charges for faxes. Do people still fax?
Yeah.
Probably don't.
Yeah, they do.
Do they really? Okay,
We give out one every other month.
okay.
It's a confidential way of saying it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some places require.
Yeah.
Some of my malls, there's been organic stuff they require it to come in.
Okay.
More secure than there.
Nice to see something staying the same. Okay, no other questions, then why don't we go ahead and bring Samantha back up. Presentation, thank you, Kevin.
Okay. There's two check.
Yeah.
Check director.
Yay.
Just a name, just a name.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We just like that feedback. I don't.
Yep, so then
Just
just.
that for-
Thank you, everyone. Okay, I'm gonna try to make this quick, so that they're not long. First, I'd like to read something. Thank you to our city manager, city council, and Madam Mayor for the opportunity to present this evening. Before I run through the presentation, I have a few words I'd like to share. It's important to note that this is not personal. While I've been with the city, every group affected by this fee schedule has done everything asked of them. We've built mutual respect and had hard conversations, building relationships around a common goal, keeping our doors open and accessible to everyone, while honoring the roots that make Parks and Recreation possible. We often say the pool was built for the kids, and while I don't disagree, it's also important to remember that the generous donation from Bob Corn and the grants that created many of our facilities didn't come with a long-term budget or a crystal ball. Today, we face rising costs, growing liabilities, and increasing safety demands. Sustainable funding, equitable access, lasting impact. This fee schedule is about balancing community value with financial reality. Our parks and facilities are vital to our community's health, education, and connection. Yet our revenue is not keeping pace with operating costs. We've left positions unfilled, cut more this year, and we have witnessed even deeper personnel cuts in other departments, including friends and teammates who we've asked to leave. As a result, services will be reduced. I will hold to that, because I'm committed to protecting the amazing staff who remain. They are the heartbeat of our department. We've already felt these challenges losing Skaters Cabin, the skate park, and extended pool closures. These were not new issues. Now is the time to be proactive, not reactive. I know change is hard, the decisions ahead aren't easy, but the right path is often the most challenging. I accepted this role fully aware of our challenges, and with a commitment to face them honestly and collaboratively. I again look to your support as leaders of the community to help maintain what so many have built. To keep our parks, the pool, and Bedarkie open for all, we must balance community benefit with financial sustainability. Shared investment ensures continued access for everyone who values these spaces. The fee schedule is a critical step towards sustainable revenue that we invest directly in our community. With the general fund under strain, user contributions can help prevent further service reductions. At the same time, we remain committed to equity. Everyone contributes fairly for the benefits they receive. By diversifying income and reducing dependence on grants and subsidies, we strengthen our ability to offer consistent, high-quality programs. Safety remains top priority, especially at the pool, Bedarkie, and on our maintenance team. Proper staffing is essential for both safety and quality service. This fee schedule is only one step in a broader effort to sustain our programs and facilities, keeping them vibrant, accessible, safe, and sustainable. By making responsible financial choices now, we're shaping the legacy we leave behind. We are the generation that must make changes necessary to keep these spaces alive for those who come after us. Legacy isn't what we preserve, it's what we choose to sustain. This balanced, forward-looking approach will help Parks and Recreations not only sustain, but create the chance to rebuild and grow stronger for decades to come. Together, we can protect what we've built and ensure our open spaces continue to support well-being, welcome all, and keep communities strong, connected, and thriving. I'd like to quickly run through the slides, and I'm happy to answer any questions along the way or at the end. So, this is my presentation. I hope you guys had a chance to look through it a little bit. If you didn't, then. But, so this was, you know, partly I just wanted to show what we're up against right now, and I think seeing some numbers and some graphs help with that. So Addressing cost, use, and accountability in parks, facilities, and pools. So why we're here is implementing sustainable, equitable, and accountable use for the city of Cordova Parks and Recreation System through the year for the 2026 fee schedule. So this is mostly about the fee schedule and about creating some MOUs and usage agreements. So talk about that. Many of our parks, pool, and recreation facilities are provided at no or reduced cost for long-term user groups. And while we've always done this, it's becoming unsustainable. So my goal is to protect access for all residents by creating a system that's fair, transparent, and financially sound. Of course, these are things that we value and heavily value in the community, is supporting access for our teams, schools, and residents. So this is just a snapshot of what we are, who uses everything. So the local swim teams, youth, competitive groups, all of these are rely heavily on our facilities and parks. Right, that's covering up. I think this one's really important, and again, it's not personal, I just wanted to show how much the pool is being used by different entities like the school, the swim team. There's two separate swim teams, so there's the high school swim team and the Iceworms. And then there's the Little League that uses our fields and Snapchat. So these are the complementary facility use entities that use the most of our facilities. So this is a breakdown of just for the pool. With this year's, with 2025's rental rates, if they're gonna use them, we do track how many hours they use. So you can see this, the Iceworms is 432, the pool, the school is 544, and then the Wolverines a little shorter season. This is at a standard rate if we were gonna charge fully for them. And just to see. And so noted is that this is only what's tracked right now. I don't have fields tracked because we don't have a fee schedule for that right now. So this is the annual estimated what we're giving out for complimentary use every year. So it's been pretty consistent, except for the pool being closed. We'll see some slides further down that address that. And we value all these programs, we do. But they do affect everything in their budget. So another goal of mine is just balancing access and safety and financial sustainability. And honoring tradition of what we do have here. I think it's really great. But facing realities and not looking past them. So more about just the budget, the deferred maintenance. Even when people are in and it's complimentary, it's still adding a strain on our facilities and our staff. So we do recognize that a lot of people use our facilities. So balancing that with financial sustainability has not, we haven't been able to do it recently. For this one, I wanted to show this chemical, hydrochloric acid. We use probably, depending on the bather loads and how many people are using the pool, probably 12 to 15 barrels a year of this. This is not with shipping. So this is almost half of my chemicals for the year. It's just this one chemical, and how much it's gone up. So we just keep eating the cost of this, that's without shipping. And then our operational costs for the parks, the last year was a little skewed because of the pool being closed. And I just wanted to show, what we're looking at for deferred maintenance. I think, you know, just seeing it, we see it day to day and what our challenges are. What our challenges for the maintenance teams are, and when I have to tell them we don't have money to do things, it's hard. We don't want things to look like this. The other part of this is the managing risk, with, liability issues that have come up in the past few years, so I know the pool has remained, unstaffed with lifeguards recently, you know, in the past years, that is not an option anymore. We have to be lifeguarded. And so our liability with our insurance, and we should watch it, they lifeguarded too. I won't read all of this, this is the steps that I go through, just managing risk, you know, risk management 101. And I wanna fulfill this as much as possible with all our user groups. So, why risk management is important is that it does give clear roles and responsibilities with MOUs. Paid usage with financial support, better risk coverage and enhanced accountability. Right now, we don't have anything in writing, letting us know how we're supposed to do anything with, the entities that are using the pool. This is a snapshot of, you know, lifeguard staffing, why it's essential here in Alaska and everywhere, but Alaska is the highest unintentional drowning rate in the US, and that's over 5 times the national average. For a lot of reasons, so that's why we do require, like, we're training 2 lifeguards. Our staffing costs are fixed whether anyone's in the, you know. So options for a sustainable future. I work on this a lot. I want us to be sustainable. I want to help support the general fund. And I want everything to be equitable as much as possible. So, you have the fee schedule that is up here, but, some of the key adjustments, is a nonprofit rental rate at 25% less than the standard rental rates. So, there's entities right now that are paying that are nonprofit, and there's ones that aren't, so across the board, having the fee schedule will help support that. And then, also renting out our fields and snack shack, we have these options available to us. Work with other parks and rec facilities that have similar snack shacks, similar sized communities. It's revenue that we can bring in, and I get asked about it. So, setting out the way to rent them, I think would be great, and we already have. We already can do it, we don't need to buy anything or online rentals, we can use the same system that we're using now. The other few things that have changed about it, I just wanna touch on that, is that we are combining the last pass that you could pick a swim or gym was an annual pass, and I am combining that. I really have moved forward. I think Kathy, you had said that we're working towards everyone being cross-trained. And then, so when I started at the pool and the Darky, it felt like there were 2 separate places. And really, we were one full place. And I've worked hard over the past few years to have everyone cross-trained. And I feel like that with the fee schedule as well. I feel like if you're supporting Parks and Rec, I think there's a misconception that if you're just getting a pool pass, it goes to the pool. That's not correct. So it's not only, it's a recreation pass, it's supporting all Parks and Recreation. And it is an industry standard to have a combined pass like that, so. I'm also I changed the age for kids to come in for free to 9, or the 8, 9 and below, 8 and below, sorry, I see that in there. So. Just take some of the burden off of the parents that have, it is a lot, I understand that. When they come in for drop-in and stuff and they have 3 or more kids, it's a lot of money. So yeah, the next steps is to pass a fee schedule. I'll support that, and then, I'm working to create some standardized, agreements for the facilities, parks and equipment, for rentals, have clear expectations for everything. And I would love to develop agreements and MOUs with the entities that are using the pool now. And number everything. That's it. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, that was informative. Anybody have questions around the table? Do we have a hard copy of the fee schedule?
It's in the packet.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
last year's is too, just to have some
Okay.
comparison.
Yeah.
You'll see some changes in ODI too, there.
Yeah, I had read it in the packet, but then these were separated. Okay. Are there any questions in the room or online for Samantha? Kristen, you wanna go ahead?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you, Samantha. I'm, I guess, not completely surprised to hear that we don't have written MOUs with some of the users, but it, but when you state it so matter-of-factly, it is sort of, I don't know what the word is, surprising, shocking, I don't know, but it's great. I really appreciate that you're bringing these things to light and that you're addressing them head on. And clearly you've worked on a lot of issues, the cross-training, the kind of restructuring the fee schedule, because you're right, people, if you're cross-training staff, people aren't just using the pool, they're benefiting from trained staff who support both facilities. So yeah, I think that's really important. And I just want to say thank you because you've clearly put a ton of work and thought into managing this department, and I think probably all of our departments, people have worked really hard to maintain city facilities for a long time, but I have a feeling that that all of them, or many of them anyway, if they don't already have them, would benefit from written procedures, some kind of some MOU, user agreements, things like that. And so I just applaud what you have taken on, and I really appreciate your hard work. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have a question, but just to echo what our mayor said, I appreciated in the beginning, how you described kind of the core priorities, looking at liability, safety, and then quality of service. The quality of service is not easy to do when you don't have the resources to do it, right? I mean, I know for myself, I wouldn't want to walk into the pool with the darky and see it be a mess, equipment half working. You could be open, but still have a pretty sloppy operation, and then nobody's gonna want to pay for it. And I would also like to echo Mayor, having MOUs, clear expectations on both parties of what they're going to get for the fees they're paying. Especially working with groups, what the expectations that they could have of you and you of them. I think that's truly important. But then there's not this confusion in the middle of things where people are misunderstanding one another. So I think that's pretty critical to have. And then being able to revisit, be flexible, as time goes by, if decisions are made that we need to revisit and make a change to it. Being flexible to do that. So, and you represented all that in your presentation and your out-year planning that you're showing us, so. Really, yeah, thank you for all the work you're doing.
I was just gonna add to kind of top of what Dave just said, but yeah, kind of bringing us up to professional standard levels too with other entities, I know, yeah, the MOUs are important, fee schedules are important, and, I think you've done a good job of balancing it with use, so, for sustainability,
Sustainability.
yeah. Okay, any other comments? Do you wanna, is Mike back on?
Yes.
Okay. Mike, we've been buzzing along and I don't know if you, what you heard or what you haven't.
Yeah, I appreciate kind of hearing the nitty gritty on this stuff. I understand these are really challenging times and working in a less than ideal situation. So I really appreciate your ability to step up to the task and try the best you can to maintain morale when there's these big cutbacks and people are probably worried about the security of their job. So thank you for your continued efforts and I really appreciate it.
Okay, fellow council members, Aaron.
I really appreciate the raising the child's age. I mean, I've always been a big advocate of that, don't try and get rich off the children. And it's very important for this community to have the option and feel like a lot of people, especially the people that pay attention, knew that it's inevitable and we're all in a tough spot. So I really appreciate your time and effort.
Great, tough spot, and, yeah. Love not to have to do things like this, but I wanna keep this alive for long.
Councilman Sherman?
Yes.
I would just make a comment here that Smith, I don't think you need to apologize for doing this. As Councilman Hanson said, this was inevitable, and, please don't feel guilty about it, because, we pay some pretty inexpensive fees. If you go to, a gym in Seattle, you can pay 10 times as much to walk in. And, good grief, a lift to get it out of the ESCO will, you have to take out a small mortgage if you want your family to go skiing.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen here. And yet we have these facilities, so thank you.
Wanna keep them.
Councilman Sherman. Yes.
Okay, everybody else has gone, I guess I have to fix it. But after years, of being on Parks and Rec and watching, the Parks and Rec department be the red-haired stepchild and take severe cuts when other departments weren't. The passion that comes from you is very evident, and I feel like we're finally in a position with the right person to be able to utilize the facilities we have and come up to professional standards and make it better for Cordova as a whole. You know, it can't always be the way it always was. That's just not an option. And I appreciate very much the beginning of your talk. There was a bug in my eye, so I was not crying, but it was very eloquent, and I'm very impressed with everything that you've done with the department and continue to do so, and I appreciate all of your work. Thank you.
What's the pleasure of council? Would you like to go back through? Are you comfortable with everything that's been presented to us? Anything you want to discuss that I'm missing?
Well, I think that if there's no more questions or if anybody wants to discuss anything, you know, the next step is. When do you have to advertise, Susan?
Just a week ahead.
Yeah, so we have the 19th meeting.
Well, are you guys undone? This is the general fund, this is the fee schedule, we did the
Enterprise.
enterprise funds already, they were all to zeros. our goal was to approve the budget and fee schedule on December 3rd. And so all that means is putting it out a week ahead. Which is a little different, normally it's 5 days ahead, but that happens to be Thanksgiving week, so it works out anyway, that it would be on the Wednesday before. And we have a public hearing scheduled for the night of the 3rd. Where anybody can say their piece on the budget and fee schedule. So we may, I don't know, do we need another budget work session on November 19th? That's the will of the body, it needs to talk about it, I guess.
What else is? Aaron?
So it's been a topic, the annexing party. And that was, since I've been on council, it's been brought up a few times. And the last comment was it needs to be budgeted. Clearly, there's no funding. But it would also generate a bit of revenue. I don't know what the avenue would be to. If that's something that you could pull from the permanent fund to fund the annexation.
So next spring, we have the union negotiations and we did budget additional lawyer time for that. I think we've had some discussions with Holly and Jess. I think there's some information we can get in kind of.
In an inexpensive way, maybe we can have some kind of a work session that Holly could put on in the new year, which would at least. Give us a good sense of, what the future holds, how to go about it. And then maybe she can give us some budgetary needs for that, and a capital budget can be approved mid-year, it does not have to coincide with operating budgets. So.
So one thing that, speaking of capital budget and funding, so the one thing we have not talked about is the $1.5 million match for Second Street. So currently, we were able to get the Denali grant. We got 400,000 additional from CEC. CTC has a board meeting on the 18th. And Cheryl and I have come up with some scenarios on how to fund that. And we will present that on the 19th. So that would be one other budget item. I guess it'll show in the budget how it will be funded. But
Hey, Sam, can you just say how much the Denali grant is?
300,000.
Thank you.
So depending on, if CTC can provide a contribution, we have a couple scenarios running, so we wanted to wait to do that to the 19th.
So we will have a budget work session on the 19th,
I
at least
guess-
to discuss that.
Well, yes, because we're not voting on the budget on the 19th,
Correct, so
but
that
it
would be
would be
appropriate.
included in the budget. But back to your comment, with the union negotiations, we did do extra, so in 27. If everything stays the same or gets a little better, that extra budgeted money could then be pushed towards annexation. I don't have a real good concept of what union negotiation means to me as far as time. I'm pretty sure it's intense from what I've seen since I've worked here. So think, and that's not till spring.
And when, don't want to be negative. The little bit we did hear from the local boundary commission. Was that these things take time and money and a lot of public input. And then sometimes they're in litigation for years and then go to a vote. And then sometimes all that effort and money goes nowhere. So that becomes frustrating. But that's not gonna keep us from looking at it and exploring it, because maybe that's just where Coda was going. I mean, I do believe the direction of our community, literally the direction of the roads, is such that we're expanding, at least residentially, is that a word?
Christine's your hand up.
Krista, go ahead.
Thank you. Councilmember Sherman, has there been any kind of estimate for what annexation would mean in terms of property tax revenue? You know, the number of homes that would get included, and I know you. Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's, I'm talking about an order of magnitude estimate, not, you know, a detailed estimate, but.
Keep meaning to, and I feel like I might have at one point, but I mean, that Hardy Bay subdivision is huge. But, and so there's a lot of vacant land within the subdivision as well as homes, so that would all be taxable.
Mhm.
There's 340 lots in the subdivision. And additionally, there's some previous inholdings, which depending on if you annex all the way out to the very end, like my dad's place out there is an inholding. The houses at White Shed where the tenders anchor are an inholding. There's a couple other cabins there that are inholdings. It all depends on what the timeline is for annexing, because NBE's, it's my understanding that NBE's next priority after Shepherd Point is continuing that road all the way to the end. So if it takes us 5 years to do it, you know, the property that's already existing that has houses on it, I'm not going to field a guess, but there's a lot of lots out there.
And then big decisions need to be made regarding, is that the only direction you go? Because ocean exists, islands exist. Other communities have become boroughs and taken in land up to other boroughs on purpose. And we haven't. So it's not a small conversation. And when you ask local boundary commission, sometimes they say things like, a consultant who knows their way around this and how to approach it. Almost a requirement to get it done right. I believe, I mean, Holly knows it inside and out, but I don't know what their capabilities are as far as who they could devote to it and how much time it takes.
But yes,
Well, it looks like we obviously don't have money in the budget for 26, but it does sound like there's potential further out. I just would like to see it stay on kind of a top of a list for when there is legal time set aside to really explore that, because I think it's like you said, it's coming. And we're expanding, and I think it needs to be something that we consider. So it does look like, you know, you thought ahead with that, with the legal side of it, and I think that's probably all we can do at this point. But yeah, I definitely want to keep that conversation coming back.
and it is on our pending agenda, is it not?
Yeah, it's on the pending
And I
agenda.
was also gonna say, we could spend no money and work next year on just, cause this has been done twice before here, or proposed twice before. With boroughs and also with the annexation I've done before, so we could go back and review what's. But it looked like when they proposed the boroughs before, and just learn a little bit too, I mean, I can't remember anymore, it'd be nice to refresh myself.
I'd definitely like to see a work session.
So,
moving
yeah,
forward
I
on
mean,
that,
that could
just
be.
informational.
Yeah, I just want to get it on the record here. So the last time they tried to do major annexation all the way out to White Shed, there was no way for the city to provide services because there was no road. And so that is my understanding of why it didn't happen last time, is because, you know, there's all these properties out there that you can't get to. And so how do you say that that's part of the city? What's the advantage? So that just needs to be on the record and part of our dialogue.
there are certainly boroughs in southeast that are not contiguous with roads. So. That's not.
So anything else? Should we have consensus then that we move forward and the budget's presented at the next meeting, the regular meeting?
Are we looking at a work session on the 19th, another work session still, and not?
Well, you'll decide how you wanna present the last piece that you have to present.
But we don't actually vote on the budget on the 19th.
No, yeah, we're not. So,
It doesn't have to be two,
no, it's
just
one
one.
reading. And we've said it multiple times, people don't know, we're approving the budget on December 3rd.
Well, why don't we go ahead and go through it again on the 19th? That gives the community an opportunity to come and talk on the budget at a regular meeting. Correct?
Sure, you want everything included in a budget work session on the 19th. General fund as we have it, balanced,
Mm-hmm.
the enterprise funds and the fee schedule cleaned up.
Correct.
Sounds good.
Good.
Is that good? We're not doing it until Monday, though, probably. It's already Thursday. I mean, over the weekend or Monday.
It's just a very
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Perfectly good Saturday.
Yeah, we can do that. I will say though, we do have to have a balanced budget by the end of the year, so, you know, we're kind of banking on being able to move forward on the 19th.
Understood.
Is it possible to have the 19th meeting at 6:30? I've got a previously scheduled thing that'll be done by then.
I think that should be enough time since we're all kind of good to go. Everything will just be like a last time refresher.
Yeah, there'll be some discussion on that grant match and how it gets funded, but I mean, there's not a lot of options and we have to do it. So something has to be moved forward at that point. So a half hour.
6:30 work session on the budget.
Yeah, and I'll say that the regular meeting agenda is looking light. So if it has to be one of the recess and reconvene the work session after,
Okay.
we can do that on the 19th.
Everybody okay with that? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, okay, good. Anything else for the good of the order? If so, we can just go ahead and adjourn. We'll see you again next week, just like a regular date.
And we're plan.
Oh, yeah, look.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you, Kristen.
Yeah.
Opens, you can schedule online. It's appointments online only, no walk-ins.
Yes, and I know there were some questions. That is a QR code that you can just, take a picture of with your phone and they'll take you to the link, so.
It's very exciting.
Very exciting.